Hi everybody, it's Stephen Brooke and welcome to Architectural Photography and Composition. The two questions I'm asked the most are, one, if you're going to do architectural photography, seriously, what lens should I use? And in a number of videos and a number of answers, the 24mm perspective control is really the workhorse for what we do. The second question that I get, and I get it a lot recently, is can you use your smartphone along with your camera in a professional setting, and do I do it? And since I couldn't answer this in the affirmative 5-6 years ago, but now, yes, you can do it, and yes, I do use my smartphone. There are two things that are really important if you want to do that. One, you need to put your smartphone on a tripod and get a little gizmo that allows you to connect your phone to move it vertical, horizontal, because just like your camera, you can't think when your camera's not on a tripod. And the other thing that I have, and that I really think is, and these are not expensive, I have a remote shutter release from my iPhone, because I don't care how careful you are, if you touch your phone, you're possibly going to give it some shake, and if you're shooting longer exposures, it's not going to work. These two things are not expensive. So I have basic settings that I recommend. Let me say at the outset, there are dozens of apps that are out now and all kinds of gizmos for your smartphone that make it like an SLR, lenses that I don't know. This is not the place to go through all of those. I want to show you what you can do with your basic camera without any extra gear. And if some of you have tried other apps and love them, please let me know, and I can check them out and we can report back to the community that these are really good, that these really help. But what I want to do is what I'm doing with my students at U of M, and this is the first semester I've allowed them to use their smartphones, is to have them just use the native phone with what's built into it. So number one, and you can do this now, is to shoot RAW format. Don't shoot JPEGs. And activate the high dynamic range. I recommend 16:9 format. The default, I think, on most of these is 3:4. You might like that. I find it a bit chunky. I like I wish it were 2:3, but it's not. I like the 16:9. And then take advantage of in-camera bracketing. So here's how you can set the RAW format, and I find people didn't know they could do this. Go to Settings, Camera Formats, and this, I have an Apple. Just make sure this is activated. This is Apple Pro RAW. And then when you shoot, make sure that the RAW indication here is not X'd out, because if it's X'd out, you're going to end up shooting a JPEG. Make sure that this is not X'd out. The next thing is how to set the picture proportion. Again, if you click this down yellow arrow, you'll get the variety of formats: square, 4:3. I like 16:9. Again, you can change it to 3:4. I shot this morning just for the hell of it. This is a 20-some story building, and I'm across the street. Couldn't back up very far. And what I did is you could shoot it horizontally and then have to correct the verticals. I just turned it vertically. I was able, with this lens, with the widest lens, to be able to get the whole of the building, and then I just simply cropped this out. So the native file was 27 megabytes because I'm shooting RAW, and cropping it, I'm down to a 13 megabyte file, which is really not bad. Now, there are other settings, and you can freeze frame this if you'd like. These are the settings that I've been using. You can, depending on what work you do, you can set these and see if it works for you. Maybe some of these don't. When you take your picture, you can touch the screen, and the autofocus and auto exposure little square will come up, and you can move that little square to exactly where you want it to make sure that part is in focus. These lenses have surprising depth of field. And there's also a little sun that will appear, and this is not bracketing, but if you move with your finger, if you move this little sun up and down, you can go from a brighter to a darker photo, and then take your picture. Now, if your camera is on a tripod, this is a lot easier to do. Now, the thing that you can do with this camera that's really important if you're going to do layering, like if you're shooting an interior and you need to shoot out of a window that's too bright, you can bracket just like you can on a regular camera. Now, some of the apps that you can add to your phone will do auto bracketing. You don't necessarily need that, because if, again, you click this little downward arrow and you'll see a little plus minus sign, you can take a picture that goes all the way from -2 to +2 from whatever the meter says. That's 13 shots, and that's what I recommend that my students shoot, to go from 2 under to 2 over from whatever the meter tells you, to give a wide bracket that you can use in layering. Or sometimes the meter gives you something that may be a little bit on the bright side, and 1/3 of the stop, 1/3 stop under might be exactly what you need. Now, if you're shooting raw files, the rest of this goes just like your regular camera. Bring it into your computer with a program like Preview or whatever, and the raw files are going to be in DNG format. So open it in Camera Raw just like you always do. Make sure you have the current version. If you have a brand new phone, make sure you have the current version of Raw, and it will, on the profile, it will recognize the color profile of your camera. And then go ahead and process the files the way you always do. I have a suggested workflow in my book. I have a couple of videos. I have some suggested workflows. I know every photographer has their own way of doing this, and I offer a really simple, clean way, because I don't want to complicate my life. I don't want to complicate my work on my computer. I do this thing the simplest way I possibly can, and that's what I've been suggesting to you, and then you can add to that, as you see fit, and then process them, and then open them in Photoshop and fine-tune them the way you always do. This is now, how do they look side by side? This is a Canon 5DS, my beast of a camera. I get a 143 megabyte TIFF file, and then this is from my 12 Pro Max, and this is a 26.9 megabyte file. It's 12, little over 12 by a little over 8 at 300 DPI. That's about what I got from my Canon 5D. It was the first digital camera that I ever bought. When am I doing this? Okay, I'm setting up a night shot, twilight shot, and I have my camera set up. I have everything set up. I'm not inclined to move things around once I have this all set up. But there may be some, especially going into twilight, some beautiful little miracles of light that are happening, some little details, and I want to be able to catch those as well. And I only use one camera in the field. I have a tripod set up with my smartphone, and I will go get those details that I might not ordinarily get, and I can move really quickly with these, and I will have a set of files that I will process just like I showed you. So side by side, I'm unapologetically putting those in with my regular photographs for my client. And I'm yet to have anybody say, why are you giving me these crappy looking photos? They are damn good. And also keep in mind that most of your clients, architects especially, are not going to use even a 26 megabyte file to go online for Instagram, for mail, for competitions. They need to get down to a 3 to 5 megabyte JPEG file, 300 DPI, 6:9. Even this is going to be too big. It'll choke a site. So you can use your iPhone photographs right alongside your regular camera photographs in a presentation, and it's going to be seamless, I promise you. Again, I didn't want to go into dozens of apps that are available. However, if you do need perspective control on the fly, the edit in your smartphone isn't going to get the job done. I use this one app called SKRWT, and it has an app within it called 4 Points, and it's really beautiful in being able to correct the verticals in an existing photograph. And again, it's not going to be something you're necessarily going to include in your professional portfolio or in what you send your clients. But if you're shooting a picture and you're traveling or something and you want to send a photo and it's a building and you don't want to even now, you don't want to send a building where the verticals are out of alignment because you know better. You can correct that and then send a really nice looking photograph using this app. So your expanded toolbox for architectural photography got bigger. Yes, your camera. We talked about the fact how valuable a drone can be in your work. And let me say, you can comfortably add your smartphone to your toolkit if you just take a few of the precautions. Put it on a tripod, use a remote, and shoot raw files. So if you would like to support the site, give the video a thumbs up if you like it. Tell your friends about the site. And if you'd like to support it, pick up a copy of Architectural Photography and Composition. It costs less than lunch, and you can get it at StephenBrookePhotography.com. I guarantee you every single page in there has something that will be of value for you. So thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.